Part 2 of a sermon on the Feast of Saint Anthony by the celebrated Jesuit Father Antonio Vieira. Christ speaks in these words to the apostles and their successors, the apostolic men. Since their duty is to illuminate the world with the gospel, Christ calls them the light of the world. In other nations, this is a special grace given to individuals. However, for the Portuguese, it is a universal trait of the entire nation. Christ told Peter and John they were the light of the world, not to all of Galilee. He told Basil and Athanasius they were the light of the world, but not to all of Greece. He told Cyprian and Augustine that they were the light of the world, but not to all of Africa. Yet Christ told Anthony, a Portuguese, that he was the light of the world and extended this to all Portuguese people. Why this difference? Other men are only obliged to be Catholic. The Portuguese are obliged to be both Catholic and Apostolic. Other Christians must believe in the faith. The Portuguese must believe and propagate it. And who says this? Not Saint Jerome or Saint Ambrose, but Christ himself, who said, "You are the light of the world." It is the unique glory of the Kingdom of Portugal that it was founded and instituted by God, unlike any other kingdom in the world. Although the Kingdom of Israel was made by God, it was done reluctantly because the Israelites insisted on having a king like other nations. However, when Christ founded Portugal, he appeared to King Afonso, and the first words he said was, "Volo," I will. As Portugal was to be a strong supporter of the Catholic Church, Christ wanted its foundation to be similar to that of the Church. To Saint Peter, Christ said, "Tu es Petrus et super ang Petram edificabo ecclesiam meam." You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. To Afonso, Christ said, "Volo in te et in semine tuo imperium mihi stabilire." I will establish an empire in you and your descendants. To Peter, Christ said, "I want to build my church on you, not yours, but mine, ecclesiam meam." To Afonso, he said, "I want to build an empire in you, not for you, but for me, imperium mihi." For the church, Christ did not say, "in you and your descendants," because the church's empire was to be universal, allowing all nations to elect the tiara. But for Portugal, Christ said, "in you and your descendants," meaning the kingdom would be hereditary, not elective, to ensure continuity in the same family line. But why all this? To establish a unique and enduring relationship between Portugal and the Catholic Church. This is not for a political end, which is common to all kingdoms and nations, but for an apostolic end, which is unique to this kingdom. Christ himself said so in the words he used to establish it. "Ut deferatur nomen meum in exteras gentes," so that through the Portuguese, my name may be taken to foreign peoples. At that time, the world did not know who these foreign peoples were, but 400 years later, when the world came to know itself better, it understood. See if it was an apostolic intuition. You see, of St. Paul, Christ said, "Ut portet nomen meum coram gentibus," that he may carry my name before the Gentiles. And of the Portuguese, Christ said the same, "Ut deferatur nomen meum in exteras gentes," that my name may be carried to foreign peoples. To the apostles, Christ said in Matthew chapter 4, verse 35, Videte regiones quia albe sunt ad messem. Look at the fields, for they are ripe for harvest. And to the Portuguese, Christ said, Ut sint messores mei in terris longinquis, that they may be my reapers in distant lands. Note that he specifically said reapers, because he would also use their arms and their iron tools. Christ, in his infinite wisdom, appeared to King Afonso in his tent at the moment when he was reading and meditating on the story of Gideon. This was no accident, and there lies two mysteries. First, so that the king would not doubt the promise, seeing that his Portuguese were still very few. Second, so that the Portuguese themselves would understand that, like Gideon's soldiers, they should carry a trumpet in one hand and a light in the other. Christ called Peter Kephas, as in rock, to signify what he was to be. The Portuguese first called themselves Tubals, from Tubal, which means worldly, and then they called themselves Lusitanians, from the Latin word lux, as in light, so that they would carry light in their name. Worldly, so that they would carry the world in their name, because God had chosen them to be the light of the world. Vos estis lux mundi. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the next part. Saint Anthony of Padua, pray for us. Saint Anthony of Lisbon, pray for us. May God bless you for your generosity.